time for me to do my top 5 books of the year. This was actually a really hard list for me to compile because I felt like a lot of the books that I read in 2016 were like meh-ish or not even meh. So I had to look through my list. I read about 80 books this year, which was 20 under my goal of 100, but I always set my goal at 100 and then see what happens. With being in school and everything, my numbers haven't reached 100 in a while, but that's always like my good round goal to try and hit. I also really like my top 5 this year because it encapsulates a lot of the different reading that I've been doing. I've been reading a lot wider, more consistently this year for reasons mostly including the Pop Sugar Challenge and also book club, but I've really started to get onto like a nonfiction kick and audiobooks, and I really like that my world is expanding that way. So without further ado, let's get started. These are in no particular order, literally just as I remember them. So I'm going to start off with one of my most surprising books that I really loved this year and was super surprised to even realize that I wanted to include it in this top 5, and that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This is a literary fiction novel that Michaela chose for one of our book club episodes, and a lot of us really loved it. It is after a cataclysmic world event, and the population of the entire world is trying to put itself back together, and it focuses on a troupe of performers who go around this shattered existence performing Shakespeare, trying to keep that culture alive. And of course, when Michaela presented it, I was like, oh my god, how much do you hate me? It involves Shakespeare, and it's a literary fiction, and this blah blah blah, Michaela, why? And then I read it, and I loved it, and I will sell that book at my job, Barnes & Noble, all the time because it was amazingly well written. The story involves rotating characters, but also like interlocking timelines. So there's before the event, after the event, and characters who like die, not come back, but like because the timeline is wishy-washy, you get to know characters that are dead, get to see characters. It's just, it fit together so well, and the message was so good, and the writing was so beautiful. And I just really loved it, and it was such a great reading experience as a whole. It did have its issues, of course, and if you want to know about them, you can definitely watch our book club episode on it. If it's a book that you have heard of and maybe thought, should I read this, should I not? Definitely 100% read that. You'll be doing yourself a favor, and I have to admit that this one time, I admit, Michaela picked a really good book. Michaela does pick good books with more frequency than Taylor, so it's not that surprising. But anyway, moving on. My second book on this list I'm going to bring up now because, again, super surprising to have it here at all. And while I admit that there might have been better written books that I read this year that didn't make this list because I'm putting this book here, it was definitely my most surprising, like, oh my god, this is amazing, so had to make the list. It is The Vanishing Throne by Elizabeth May. This is the second book in the Falconer series, the sequel to The Falconer. And I have a really long history with The Falconer. I had the book club read it a while back, and all of us universally hated it. That episode is really funny, but it wasn't great. Nobody liked it. I had the opportunity to get The Vanishing Throne as an ARC, and for some reason I requested it, knowing that I hadn't liked The Falconer. But, I got it, and I went to read it, and before I did, I wanted to reread The Falconer. And so when I reread The Falconer, I realized that I actually liked the book a lot more than I remembered. It definitely has a lot of issues, but I then did a re-review of the book on my own, kind of talking about the fact that a lot of our issues from book club were valid, but there were a lot of good things that I thought the book had that we didn't bring up because we were too busy mocking it. And then I read The Vanishing Throne, and every issue that I had in The Falconer was resolved in The Vanishing Throne. The characters were better, the plot was better, the romance was better, the setting was better, the pacing, everything was so much better, and it was such a reward for taking a chance on the second book when the first book hadn't been that great, and I couldn't put the book down. I read it in like 2 days, and this was at school, mind you. So I was literally like walking into class reading it on my phone, just flipping out about how amazing the book was. So again, definitely did not expect that. Went in with such low expectations. So if you read The Falconer and didn't like it, but liked the series as an idea, please do pick up The Vanishing Throne. You are not going to be disappointed. There are just, please watch that review too. It's one of my favorites on the year because it's literally just me going, guys, 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 guys. So it's pretty fun. On a more serious topic, my third book on this list, definitely not third in any list other than this one, was Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I listened to this as an audiobook being read by the author himself. And it just, there isn't a lot I can say about this book just because it was powerful. There are no words in the English language to describe the way that his writing worked in with his message, worked in with the power of listening to him read it, knowing that he meant it for his son, talking about something that is really important in America that a lot of people should be more aware of but aren't, things that I wasn't aware of, things that, reminders for me as a privileged white person. Just, if I had the ability to put one book that I read in 2016 in the hands of everyone I saw, just read this, it will change your perspective on a lot of things, it would be that book. I would just do it. If you haven't read it yet, it's a really tiny book. The audiobook is really quick. He has a really amazing voice and a really amazing way with words, and I just read it. That's all I have to say. Just read it. The power comes off the page, and you will become a better person just by absorbing that. So the last two books on this list will surprise no one. They will surprise maybe 0 people. I could not get through this list without putting up the 2 Sarah J. Maas books that came out in 2016, and that is Empire of Storms, the 5th book in the Throne of Glass series, and A Court of Mist and Fury, the 2nd book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I think out of ones that I had hyped up and I was waiting for sure, that book was Empire of Storms. There was no other book this year that I was so excited for, that I counted the days for. I was waiting for the UPS guy to show up. I ran down the stairs when he got there. I went insane, and then I got the book and I ran back up the stairs and I locked myself in my room and I just read this because I was so excited to finally have this book. I mean, you guys know that Throne of Glass means a lot to me as a series. At some point I'll be wearing a shirt where I can show off my new Throne of Glass tattoo that's on the shoulder. As a person, as a writer, as a reader, this series and Sarah means so much to me. If you watch my review of this, which is now the most popular video on our channel, which is super scary, you'll know that I did have issues with it. I don't think that it was a perfect book by any means. I definitely was, I don't want to say disappointed in some things, but there were definitely things that I thought could have been done better or should have been done differently. As, just thinking about plot things and writer things and characters. But again, overall, I was really happy with this book. I still rated it 5 stars even so. I still loved it even so. So again, the issues that I have might be a little bit more nitpicky than I'm making it seem, but oh god, guys, this series, I have so many feelings and I have so many emotions after reading this that I still feel broken from reading this book, and I read it back in September, and I just really need the next book in this series now to heal my broken heart, maybe. What might be the biggest surprise to me is that I think that between the 2 Sarah J. Maas books that came out this year, my favorite might actually be A Court of Mist and Fury, and this is surprising to me because I was not a huge fan of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I just wasn't. Sarah decided to tackle Beauty and the Beast, which is my Disney princess story. It is something that resonates with me on a very personal level. I've done a lot of personal essay writing and self-exploration with the idea that Beauty and the Beast is actually a super harmful story, and it's really hard to make Stockholm Syndrome turn into a strong female character, which is the thing about Sarah's writing that I respect the most. So after A Court of Thorns and Roses, I was just like, you have set yourself up for failure. Like, it was a good book, but I didn't see many ways for it to make Feyre, the main character, into a strong belle. Like, it's almost impossible as far as I was concerned. So, but of course, you know, because I'm a huge Sarah J. Maas fan, this book came out, I got it the day it came out, I read it in like a sitting, and then I finished reading it, and I basically cried. And then I reread it like 14 times in the next 3 days, and I was at school. So, because Sarah did it, she made a strong belle. She made Beauty and the Beast into a story where you can, like, a strong female character comes out of a very terrible situation, and she gives Feyre the opportunity to be broken, to remake herself, to, you know, find her own path, which when at the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses, I didn't see how that was going to happen. I really didn't, and so I was blown away by this book and the choices that Sarah made. Again, there are some issues that I have with it. Don't, you know, take this as saying that I think that this is the perfect way that she could have written this book and told this story, but it is pretty close. When I went into it thinking, there's no way. So in terms of personal love and affection, like, I'm always going to have a super deep place in my heart for the Throne of Glass novels, and they will probably be like my favorite series that she writes of all time ever cumulatively. But between Empire of Storms and A Court of Mist and Fury, I think I actually liked A Court of Mist and Fury more. And I can't believe I'm saying that. So, I don't know, fight me. So that is my top 5 books of 2016. There were definitely some others that could have made the list, but again, 2016, kind of a meh year, with more disappointments than really like, wow, book! So I will be making another video at some point showcasing my top 5 most disappointing books of the year, which will be a good time, I promise you, because I have thoughts and feelings, friends. I have thoughts and feelings very strong about a rather large quantity of books that I read, but I'm going to stick to 5, and I'm going to be sassy. So look forward to that, and I will see you guys later. Have a happy 2017. Bye!